Hi, my name is Megan Edwards of Focus Communications, and today we are joined once again by FireFox Gold Chairman Patrick Highsmith. FireFox Gold is a Finland gold explorer that trades on the Toronto Venture Stock Exchange under the symbol FFOX. Patrick, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Megan. Good to be back.
Now, Patrick, to start things off, could you give our audience a brief overview of FireFox Gold and your portfolio of projects in Finland?
Yes, FireFox, as we've said before, there's been a lot of news lately, Megan. We've been talking a lot, so I won't expand too much on that, but we're a pure play on gold exploration in Finland. We have a large tenement package in Lapland, the area of northern Finland that is host to Europe's biggest gold mine, the Kittilä gold mine. You can see here on this slide near the center, near the top of the slide. And of course, Europe's most exciting recent gold discovery, which is Rupert's discovery of the Ikkari deposit, a little bit east of the property we're going to be talking about today. So Finland-based gold explorer, our CEO, Carl Lufberg, is based in Finland. Most of our geological team is based there as well. So in this map, you can kind of see our tenement holdings and some of our peer group up there, Rupert Resources, of course, Orion Resources, and then only a couple of other companies, major companies, Agnico Eagle and B2, kind of control this whole belt, kind of a rare greenstone belt in the world, Megan, with only really 3 juniors and 2 majors controlling the whole thing.
Yes, absolutely. And just yesterday, we received an update from Mustajärvi with your latest 4 drill holes in the East target. Could you walk us through these results and their extent, as it looks like FireFox is starting to really expand the system here at the Mustajärvi East?
Absolutely. I'm just going to zoom in here. There is the Mustajärvi project. It's the smallest in terms of hectares of our large holdings, but of course it's host to a lot of high-grade gold that we've been drilling there. So yeah, let's get on to it. So the Mustajärvi property is shown here, about 3 kilometers of strike of this structure that we control there in this land package. We have a paved highway passing through the property, as we've shown folks before. B2 Gold and Orion are our neighbors to the north here. And really the property goes back to the 90s. We've circled the 3 areas we've been drilling gold over those last 5 years. We've been working here 4 years. The central zone, the northeast target, and these latest results, Megan, are from the east target in the upper right of the slide. And folks can see that here, the upper right of the slide there. That's the east target where these results come from. And this year's work, after some high-grade discoveries that got us excited about this property, our geological team pushed us out to the northeast. We found the northeast target, pushed us out further, and we found the east target. And this year's really been about figuring out the controls on the high-grade mineralization there. As we now know, it comes to surface, nice spectacular grades, well-developed thicknesses. It's also about stepping out now with some bigger step outs that we'll talk about today. And also the first metallurgical work on this new discovery will happen later this year. Now in this view, Megan, as we often do, we slice through the earth here, and we're looking at a long section along that whole structural zone I just showed you. So there's more than 2 kilometers portrayed here, and we've looked at this vertical slice of the earth looking north, and those bubbles you see there are gold grades. You can see on the right hand side the red ones are 5 to 10 grams per ton. The purple ones are greater than 10, and we're happy to say there's quite a few of those intercepts greater than 10 grams per ton, Megan. So in a nutshell, we see the central zone, kind of the left part of the slide. You see we had some nice high-grade hits there, many of them near surface, but sort of scattered about. In the northeast target, they seem to concentrate between about 50 and 150 meters below surface, and some really nice grades at the northeast target, including visible gold that we reported there. And then when we came 700 meters east of there to the east target, look at that cluster of high-grade drilling near surface. And of course, people are often saying, well, gee, you're drilling awfully close together there. When are you going to step out, Megan? And that's what we did this time. And we did have to fill out that pattern. Where is the high grade? What are the controls for it? Hence, we were drilling 20, 25 meter step out holes, sort of in this area. And now when we continue to have hits over a large area, as you can see there, we've now got a really nice cluster. And I guess I would point out one thing. You can kind of see it right here. There's kind of a blob shape, and it's kind of dipping back to the southwest like that. And this 200-meter step out really is what we're here to talk about today, Megan.
What's the relationship between the northeast and east? What's the extent here?
Yeah, we're growing it and we're figuring it out. So this step out, as I mentioned, we flagged it there in yellow. That hole is about 215 meters from previous drilling. And then a couple of holes in between were also part of this drill program. I'll go over the numbers in a moment. So what we're seeing is we think we understand the controls enough. Now, these things are 700 meters apart, the northeast target and the east target. We don't expect one continuous deposit of gold between them. But what we are seeing are loads here, and we're seeing structural controls that are consistent between them. So our learnings here at the east target, we think, will apply to the other targets as well. In this particular case, we're not even halfway back towards the northeast target with these latest intercepts. So we've got lots of room to figure that out, Megan. And I would say that from here on, you'll see more systematic work as we drill between these systems. But I also want to point out just how little deep drilling there is. There's just, you can see here a 300-meter scale bar here, and we've only got one hole that touches 300 meters. So a lot of work to do both at depth and between the systems, as you point out. So are they related? Absolutely. This is a big fault zone, and the fluids have followed those cracks through these rocks. Do they connect up? Well, it's too early to say, but you can certainly see things in the northeast target kind of headed down in this direction, Megan, and the things over here are headed down in that direction. So we're kind of excited about what's in between, obviously. Yeah, so we have stepped out further, and then on this map, Megan, we can show the latest results this week. And right here, you see this yellow shape that we've been reporting for a few months now is the modeled shape of the gold so far as interpreted by Leapfrog, a software package we use. And we've used a 2.5 gram per ton cutoff of the gold grades and projected that at the surface. A couple things jump out at you after last week's results. We drilled this hole right here, reported that last week. And you can see there's kind of a hole in that shape beforehand. Well, we've now started to fill that in, and we'll be updating the model, of course. And these 4 holes, though, are over here on the east side, the holes we've released this week, sorry, on the west side, way over here. And that's a new territory, as you can see, kind of 80 meters to 200 meters away from where we've been drilling. But you can see, if you look closely, there's a fault here in blue, and you also see this kind of light orange color. This is the corridor we're exploring, Megan, because we think the magnetic properties are telling us that those rocks have been altered. And that's why we drilled the holes where we did. And you can see them there. 5 was drilled. We could obviously see alteration in that hole. We could see rocks that were probably going to contain gold, even though we didn't have the assays. So then we came all the way over to the lower left of the screen, hole 8, and drilled across that corridor again. And in summary, you can see what we hit. In hole 5, beginning from 60 meters, it was actually a zone of about 14 meters of almost continuous mineralization there. But we broke it out into 4.2 meters at 5.7 grams per ton, very nice grades. And then we picked up again with 7 meters of 4.77 grams per ton, including a 1 meter intercept that was almost 21 grams per ton. And then in hole 8, the furthest away, 215 meters away from previous drilling, the zone was a little narrower, but still very respectable grade, 2 meters at 4.75 grams, quite shallow. And then again, deeper down, we hit some sort of medium grade, 7 meters at 1.77 grams, right on trend, Megan. So that corridor was really taking shape. We went back with hole 9 and filled in there, you can see, and hit 5.5 meters of 4.45 grams per ton, again, shallow at 75 meters. So we get the feeling that not only does the zone continue, but it's kind of plunging in that direction to the southwest. Like I showed you on the last slide, sort of pointing towards the northeast target, which sits about 700 meters away. So good outcome from this drilling. And we've developed a lot more geological interpretation, Megan, from these holes and the previous 4 we announced. And here, some cross sections. We promised last week's news release we'd put some more geology into this news release, and we put these sections in. So I'm going to look at 2 cross sections here. So now these are slices through the earth that are in the other direction, and we're going to be looking to the southwest. So here on the right, section B prime, shows you what we've been reporting. A cluster of holes here that's hitting gold pretty shallow. It's kind of hanging together. See, these shapes are kind of flat lying. These are the replacement style bodies that are a little thicker zones of mineralization. And notice that right here, these blue lines indicate a series of faults, Megan. These faults are the Mustajärvi fault zone. And what we think is going on here is this near surface mineralization has been cut off by a fault there. You can see it kind of ends sharply, cut off by this fault right here. And then look what happens down below at about 200 meters depth. We now have one of the new holes, this one, coinciding with the previously drilled hole, and we've hit a nice zone of gold down there at about 200 meters depth. So one interpretation is that we have a near surface zone. It's hit a fault that has chopped it up and down dropped this block over here. That gives us lots of room to go explore this corridor right in here, Megan, south of the main zone, but still at very reasonable depths. And again, we see nice 10 to 15 gram intercepts down there. So, that's the one cross section. Now we'll jump over to the other cross section just a little bit west of that. And here, this data will be updated now that we've got these new holes and we've got the trench results that we'll talk about next time. Near surface, really nice near surface high grades. Again, evidence that there may be a fault here cutting things off. So lots of room to drill and explore to the south of that. So again, we see targets taking shape as we come to the southwest. In general, we see targets taking shape along this axis in the southwest direction and over here, southeast in that area. So exploration targets continue to grow. We continue to see grade associated with these systems, and we really learned a lot about the geology with the careful work that the team's done on these last drill holes.
So what are the next steps at this target area for the company?
As we discussed, 3 different lodes or pods of mineralization here, and the east target has grown the fastest and the thickest, and it comes right to surface. And so obviously, now that all our data is reported from Mustajärvi, you can see along the top line, all our data is out, and the drill comes back in August. So more work to do. It's important to take the drilling opportunities when you have them in Finland because the drills are not widely available. And we have a drill coming back in August and probably back in the late winter as well. So a small drill program at Mustajärvi. Now, we will certainly be doing some systematic step outs now that we know this system has some greater length to it. So look for a few drill fences perhaps along maybe 50-meter spacings. But also we've taken what we learned at the east target and are developing new targets at the central and the northeast target as well. So lots of drilling we could do at Mustajärvi, be a modest program here in the late summer and fall, but it's happening imminently. And then looking out to Q4, Megan, the winter will be all about base of till sampling. That's how the Ikkari discovery was made, and both our Sarvi and our Nutio properties over on the Kolhod trend, those areas need base of till sampling because it's one big swamp over there, and there's one giant gold deposit underneath that swamp at Ikkari. We believe there are more. And so we'll be doing base of till sampling through the winter. But no doubt about it, the drill will be back at Mustajärvi after these really rock solid results.
And outside of this program, what can investors look forward to from FireFox for the remainder of 2023?
Well, I think if you think about FireFox in aggregate, just think about a tier 1 jurisdiction with high grade gold, incredible infrastructure, and know that FireFox holds all our properties 100% interest. It's a great place to work, and there'll be news flow from Mustajärvi and news through the winter as well.
Perfect. As always, it's a pleasure to have you on the show, Patrick, and we'll continue to watch FireFox Gold as we head into this next chapter of exploration for 2023.
Thank you very much. We're excited.